Hey guys, how you guys doing? My name is Kevin Bull Jr. I'm a bass player from Woodbridge, Virginia, but living in Nashville, Tennessee. We have Danny over here from Above. We're gonna check out his new song, Chills, the Above mix. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Just go through some different parts, lyrical stuff, technical stuff, and just dig into this track. Let's do it.
It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on. It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on.
So, let's start with the chorus and the intro there. I'm pretty nonsensical with my lyric writing. I started with indie rock and stuff, so my stuff doesn't usually make a lot of sense. But I don't know, I wrote this song when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do musically, because I felt almost like our project was plateauing a bit. And so I feel like a lot of that is coming through in the lyrics and expressing frustration and working hard and being a bit down on it, but also trying to be optimistic about it.
Yeah.
There's also lyrics that we'll get here in the verses that are about songwriting and, what brings the best out of someone in their songs might not be the best thing emotionally. We'll go into the first verse here.
Sure.
Hello, take your time, take your precious, take my mind. Hello, hello, man, he lies. Crystal plazas, diamond eyes. But they wouldn't say that your misery makes that record better than ever. And I wouldn't go there, the things that would show that never and not forever. It's
And so that first verse is, like I said, about, talking about whether or not someone being upset or, your misery makes the record better than ever. Is kind of, I don't remember what I was thinking about when I was writing, but I think I was thinking about a specific artist when I wrote it, but I'm not sure who it was. And also that first half of the verse is super nonsensical. It's just a bunch of weird phrases that I was like, oh, Crystal Plaza's diamond eyes, that sounds cool as hell. But that second half is definitely about, what does it mean to make a great song and what makes something emotional, as opposed to lacking that emotion.
Nice.
We'll go into the second verse here.
I know, and I'd hoped it would show my message, not my wreckage. But what's up with you? They'll think I'm taking it too slow lately, a little bit lazy.
And I think that's pretty much all of the lyrics. There's a bridge, which is just recounting the intro.
You know, gates are closing, closing, closing now. No, I'm still hoping while I'm coping, but.
And then we go back into the chorus. So that's all the lyrics to the song. There's not many. It was one of the first times I've tried to write something that is emotionally investing, but also has more complex melodies that mirror each other.
Yeah.
So that was one of my main goals writing the lyrics, was that while it has a meaning, the melodies all have to mirror each other so that there's a sense of cohesiveness. Is that something I felt I've struggled with in the past?
Cool. Yeah, really relatable, really cool stuff. We probably just go into the production of the vocal because there's a lot going on. There's some different octave, lower octave stuff going on.
Yeah.
What made you?
So I'm super into Ariana Grande.
Yeah. Same.
And I was really into doing crazy vocal stacks. So we'll go into we'll break down the chorus because there's a lot of stuff going on in the chorus.
Yeah.
So we got the first thing here,
But I wanna.
the main chorus
So
line.
just keeping me feels. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on. Sounds.
Now that one's not super pretty. None of this is super pretty until you put it all together.
Right.
This is the main one. I guess is the most normal sounding thing.
It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on. It's all.
So I really like to reuse sounds that I've already used and try to put effects on them. And so that get back on thing is it's the exact same take as this.
But I wanna get back on, wanna get back
But
on.
what I did is for I think in 16th note divisions, I have it pitching down from an octave up, so that's how you get that weird effect. I was also, around the time I started writing this song is around when Daft Punk broke up, so I was experimenting with vocoders, and that's sort of what started to make the vocal finally come together. When I put the vocoder on there, it kind of finally glued into the mix, and that sounds like this, isolated.
It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on. It's all just giving.
And then there's a couple harmonies here which are really ugly isolated. I listen back to these sometimes and I'm like, ooh, these are not pretty.
Yeah.
It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on. It's
That like dissonance that it adds when you put everything together, it makes it work way better than if it was super tuned because it doesn't stand out as much.
Yeah.
It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on, wanna get back on. It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all in keeping the thrills. But I wanna get back on.
So that's how we put together the chorus vocal. It's like 5 or 6 tracks.
Yeah.
Just kind of like thinking of it as like an upper octave, a middle, and a lower kind of grounding, and some weird side to side things to give it width.
Yep.
Well, let's go into the verse here. Verse is very interesting. There's a story behind this first verse.
Wallow, wallow, take your time, take your precious, take my mind. Hollow, hollow man, he lies, crystal plazas, diamond eyes. But they wouldn't say that your misery makes that record better than ever.
So you might notice after I say eyes, the vocal style changes a lot. And while I was writing this song, I actually had to have a surgery on my nose because I was having really bad like breathing issues because my septum was so messed up. And so that verse, that happened like in the middle of recording the first verse, so my singing style switches right there because of that surgery and never goes back, which I think is a really cool like thing that can never be repeated. Wow. There's some interesting harmony stuff going on here where I was pitching down my vocals. I kind of think I got that from Glass Animals, I'm not 100% sure.
Yep.
And that mixed with the lead sounds really cool.
Hollow, hollow man, he lies.
One of the cooler parts of this song that I did was a lot of weird modulation in the background for the voice, which I think sounds really interesting, just even isolated. I'm not even entirely sure how I got this. I think I octaved it down, put it through tremolo, some overdrive, just a ton of different things. And isolated is this sound. I had this is probably the highest I've ever falsettoed at the time.
I thought that was some type of format shift. That's you.
Yeah.
That's. I thought you just took it and just put it up, but that's
Yeah,
that's
pretty,
100%.
pretty. That was like in the moment. It just
let's
worked.
do it.
Yeah. But it sounds really thin on its own in the mix, so I pitched it down. I think an octave or 2 maybe,
Yeah.
and did all those weird effects, and that just girths it up, stereo wide. Creates that weird kind of dreamy, trippy kind of sound to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really into Ariana Grande, so I was starting to get it. As I was getting better at my voice after recovering from the surgery, I started experimenting with like little runs here and there.
Yeah.
And things sounds really cool with the auto-tune because it's so sharp.
Waste my time, waste the sidelines you designed. You know you are much more than.
Yeah, that's about it there. There's not really much going into the verse production as opposed to the chorus production. Like I said, I try to keep it minimal. There's one other really cool effect that I did, which I was trying to kind of almost pay tribute to, like Smells Like Teen Spirit, I think, because I was like, I like having transitions into the choruses. One of my goals with this song was to have some form of pre-chorus, no matter if it was a bar, which is what it ended up being, because I think that makes songs that have good pre-choruses really come together way more. Like that's the difference between a good song and a great song. And I kind of came up with this weird vocoder, hey, thing, which when I was recording that I was singing the, hey,
Yeah.
way, and that's like a bunch of different takes all like octaving each other. That one. I wanted it to feel kind of like a fade almost, which is exactly what it really accomplished in the end. It feels like it's fading into the chorus in a way. So that's probably all the vocal production that's interesting to go through.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's talk about the bass.
That's cool. Oh yeah, what we're all here for, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the bass.
It's bass time.
The bass is made up of 3 different layers. There's a chorus bass, a verse bass, and then like a counter melody bass. In the verses, there's a slightly different sound going on, which is an upper octave. I think it got a little bit of overdrive on it. And that was just to make it less repetitive. Like pitching in kind of effects. And the way I got that effect was by side chaining the sub bass to the kick, which is how it kind of blooms.
Yeah.
But the most interesting part is this bass line here that only happens in the chorus, which was actually an accident. I just happened to be recording while I played it, and it ended up with this super bouncy sound to it.
And that's an Ibanez, right?
Yeah, it's an Ibanez, like Geo 28-inch scale, like, tiny bass. But it just set, because it's so tiny, it sounds so like big and thick.
Yeah.
The actual processing chain I did with this was I did like a big EQ that took out everything but the low mid. I did a little bit of fuzz. And one of the main things that gives it that grit is I use this stock Ableton effect right here called Redux, which is kind of a bit crusher, and just took out a little bit of the sample rate. And that adds this little upper end kind of grit to it that you wouldn't be able to get normally. And it's super punchy because I'm using a transient shaper instead of a compressor and just cranking the transient, which just makes it go bam, bam, bam every single note.
Beautiful.
Especially when you combine that with playing it with like a palm muted pick.
Yeah.
It just, it's great. And that's how you get that. And when you mix that with the actual bass, and if you fade in the drums here, it just all just comes together in this amazing way. This kind of sounds like a hip hop song.
Yeah. That's all we need right here, just this.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
But I think when I put that bass line over there, that was like, okay, this is the song. This is going to be the one. Because I think before I got to this song, I had gone through at least 20 different tracks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just not going to release anything until I like it.
Yeah.
And I think it's done. And that was the moment when I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Just 4 on the floor. I really like disco beats.
The offbeat.
Yeah. The hi-hats on the up.
Yeah.
It makes you. And then on the second half of the chorus, I added a. And then I added some weird tribal. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Oh.
And that's like 5 different claps and snares all layered on each other, all spread like left and right. So just bam. The kick's gonna get filtered when we go into the verse.
Nice.
Just to add a little bit of that change without changing up the drum beat. Also, you notice that we don't have the offbeat anymore on the hi-hat.
Yep, straight.
But what I've replaced that with is the shaker.
Yep. Oh, yep.
And also,
okay.
Also, the shaker is doing a little bit kind of trappy, like there's a roll in there right here.
Oh.
This sample pack has a bunch of world drums in it. So that's what these sounds are.
Okay.
I don't even remember what these are called, but they just have this boom kind of effect to them. And I was like, that sounds really cool. What is cool is then in the second half of the chorus, we fade in the shaker again, and it's going with the chorus drums now.
Oh, okay. That was cool.
Yeah, but that's how the different world drums. There's a little bit of a cymbal in there. The second verse, we're a little bit laid back. cool things about this drum fill is that kind of, I can't whistle that sound. And that is actually my roommate. One night came in while I was recording really late, and he had a wine glass. And he just went, "Hey, Danny, put this in the song." Ding! And I had the mic just live because I was about to record vocals, and I was like, you know what, sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go.
So this is him hitting the wine glass reversed.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually also at the very end of this song.
That's what that is.
Yeah. The guitars are pretty basic as usual. We're going to start with the chorus guitars, and we'll talk about some of the weirder stuff. And I got this chord progression from a Still Woozy song. It's not the same chord progression, but he plays a kind of similar thing, same shape. And it's like, oh, that's a really... It had never occurred to me that if you take the octave out of a power chord, it's just the second inversion of a triad. And I was like, oh, that's really neat. So that's how that chord progression came to be. So the second verse is where the cool guitar stuff happens. Around the second verse is when Tim Henson from Polyphia's Archetype plugin came out, and I'm a big Polyphia nut. So as soon as that came out, I literally got up that day, went down to my production room and bought it right then, and just started messing around with it. And this second verse, like I said earlier, I really like to reuse sounds, but also try to manipulate them to keep them interesting. So this is like a synth fed into another synth through a vocoder, and then that second synth, the guitar is going into it. So it's like a guitar going into a vocoded vocoder, and that's how you get this weird kind of piano oct thing on top of the guitar. And it creates this kind of really interesting harmony almost. Especially here. So that's how you get that sound. That's really the only interesting guitar thing. The guitars are pretty basic. They're going through a Line 6 Helix. They're using like a Fender Tweed simulator, and I have this one pedal I got when I first started playing bass, the only pedal I still have left from then. It's a Boss bass chorus.
Yep.
And it sounds amazing on everything.
That's great. Not super interesting, but it adds rhythm, it adds a little bit more harmony to the verses, so you're not just hearing that same guitar part over and over and over again. I think I'm ready to talk about the synths. Yeah, let's do it.
The synths are pretty interesting. There's some actual synths, but one of my main goals of this song, another thing I was listening to a lot of stuff when I made this song, just trying to get inspired and figure out what made songs good. And one of the main things I was listening to was the first Maroon 5 record. And what that actually is it's 3 different Wurlitzers stacked on top of one another that are been processed like an unholy amount of times. So this is our kind of upper Rhodes sound. It sounds almost underwater. This is our lead, like the thick part of it, I believe. Oh no, it's our lower end. That sounds kind of like a piano, you can tell. This is the main synthy effect. And there is a couple synths. We have one here. And one here. Just to add some interesting like ambience. But the way I did this, got this synth swell effect, is I put chorus on everything like I always do. Put a filter that kind of low passed it, and then also the side chaining with a slow return makes it do that kind of sound, and at the beginning of the song, I tried to outline the fact that, hey, these are pianos. So if you listen to the ISO, I'd stack the effects on right before the drop happens, and we'll hear that right now.
Oh.
Woo! Yeah, and all those together sounds like this. Kind of really trippy sound. Now there are two synths that are just, they're unapologetically synths.
Yeah.
And that is, I got my first analog, like, could play it outside the DAW synth, which was an Odyssey. And so in the second and last chorus, there are these two Odyssey parts. One of them you can't even hear because it's so buried in there. But I did this little dee-doo, dee-doo thing. And that mixes with this pad sound. Yeah, it's a nutty sound.
That's awesome.
And that those two together.
Just ear candy.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
And those two really stick out. That doo doo in a really great way.
Too slow lately, a little bit lazy. It's all just giving me chills. I don't work too hard, work the yard. It's all keeping the thrills. About I want.
And that was like a last minute thing. Like I had finished everything else. I was like, I wonder if I can shove this synth I have in front of me on here. And I just kind of played it one night. And this is just following the root notes. But I believe this is also going through Tim Henson's plugin using his vocoder to create the chords. So those are the synths. I think that is about it.
Awesome. All right, guys, you heard it here first. Danny from Above for Chills. Pre-saves go out right now. Song comes out February 4th. See you guys later.